Hello, everyone. You're listening to the Merge Marketing Podcast. Today, I want you to prepare to ignite. This episode is for those of you that want to start your own online business or quite simply just increase your online sales of an existing business. Like everything, there's a proven process to doing so, and that's exactly what you're going to learn today so that you can make more money and grow your business. Our guest today is John Lee Dumas, or JLD, the founder and host of EO Fire, an award-winning podcast where he interviews today's most inspiring entrepreneurs 7 days a week. With over 1,400 episodes and 7 figures a year in revenue, JLD has shown the world the power of podcasting. So prepare to ignite and let's get into it.
You're listening to the Merged Marketing Podcast with David Louch and Jason Hunt. This is a show all about unlocking the marketing tactics and secrets behind everyday brands. Each week, we'll bring you expert commentary so that you can make better choices when it comes to growing your business. Thank you for spending time with us. Now let the show begin.
Hello, everyone. Thank you and welcome to the Merge Marketing Podcast. Today, Jason and I have a very exciting episode for you. One that will be like any other, I believe, both in format and in who we are interviewing today. As I mentioned in the pre-intro, our guest today is none other than John Lee Dumas, aka JLD. He is an award-winning podcaster and entrepreneur that I have personally looked up to for quite some time. His show is Entrepreneurs on Fire, where he gets to interview some of the biggest entrepreneurs out there right now, and he does that on a daily basis, which is really awesome. So because we only have 15 minutes with John, we're going to explain what exactly we are going to be talking to him about today, so that we can get right into it when John comes on the podcast. So if you have ever tried to run ads online, you know how difficult it can be to set up a funnel and ultimately convert people into paying customers. John has a program called Funnel on Fire, where he goes through an 8-step process to set up a proper funnel that converts. So we're going to go over the 8 steps right now. I'm going to kick it over to Jason, and he'll dive into what those 8 steps are.
8 steps to creating that funnel. Number 1, you got to identify that avatar. Who is that avatar? Who are you after? Number 2, research your target market. A lot of people neglect this part of the funnel, and that's doing that research, doing your due diligence, and not waiting until you see poor results to do it. Getting out in front of that's important. Number 3, establish your goal. You probably want to make that a SMART goal, not a wildly important goal. You want to have a realistic goal that is within your target. Number 4, you want to create the solution. What is the solution to the problem that your service is going to solve? Number 5, set up your funnel. We're going to dive into that a little bit later with John. Number 6, drive traffic. Number 7, monitor your funnel, doing the analysis, analyzing that funnel. And number 8, invite affiliates. So later on today, we're going to dive right into that with John Lee Dumas, and he's going to break down a few of those for us.
Yeah, and that was great. Thank you for going over those for us today, Jason. So basically, I know it would be super simple for all of you to probably head over to his website and find out what these 8 steps are. But the value that we plan to bring you today is really to dive in deep on a few of these steps with John and have him share his experience, what he's learned, and what exactly he would recommend that you do. So stay tuned for that, and we will get into it right now. Hey everyone, we are currently live with Mr. John Lee Dumas, aka JLD from Entrepreneurs on Fire. Hey John, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here today.
Boys, I am fired up to be here, prepared to ignite.
Nice.
We are super fired up as well. This is, for me, a super special moment as a big fan of yours. So we gave our audience a little bit of a backstory on what we wanted to talk about today. And that is how to create a funnel that converts, a topic that I know you are an expert and a wizard in.
I'm really passionate about this topic because I see a lot of people create great products, great services, at the end of the day, great solutions to real problems, but then they have no idea how to get it in the correct way in front of the correct people. And that's exactly what a funnel does.
Absolutely. And we see the same sort of problem in our business as well as an advertising and marketing agency. So we gave our audience a little bit of a background as to what your 8 steps are in setting up a funnel that converts. And what we would like to do today is we would really like to dive in deep on 3 of them. And you can just give kind of a little bit more of your tips and tactics on how to really achieve success in these 3 areas, if that works.
Looking forward to it. Take it away.
Okay, so the first one is number 1, is identify your avatar. So we'd really like to know how do you define who your avatar is? What's your process?
So this is my process. I say, who is the perfect listener for my podcast? The perfect customer or client for my product or service, my perfect viewer for my YouTube show, the perfect consumer of my content for my blog or my social media posts. That is how you need to start the process, is who is the perfect consumer of that content, of that product, of that service. For me, if I want to just give a specific example with Entrepreneurs on Fire, I sat down and I wrote out 500 words of who my perfect listener would be for my podcast, Entrepreneurs on Fire. And I won't go into all 500 words now, but very quickly, his name is Jimmy. He's 40 years old. He has 2 kids, ages 3 and 5. He drives to work by himself every single day. It's a 25-minute commute to work. He sits in a cubicle at a job he doesn't like for 8 hours before he commutes home. He gets stuck in traffic, so it's a 35-minute commute home. And again, I could go on and on and on about him, but I'm not going to go any further. But I wanted to give you an example of the detail I think you need to go into with who your avatar is, who this person is, because then you can first start to understand which problem, which struggle, which obstacle, challenge, or pain point that you actually want to solve. Like, what solution do you want to provide the answer for? Then you can take the next step in your funnel process.
What's interesting about that, John, is I'm 39 with 2 kids, but my commute's 15 minutes to work. So you almost nailed me there.
See, but the thing is, there's so many Jimmys out there, and a lot of people are stressed out, and they go like, but John, what about the 68-year-old woman who stays home and doesn't have a commute? Like, aren't I, by having an avatar, blocking her out of the game? And the answer is, absolutely no. Like, there's going to be people like Jason, who's the exact avatar or very, very close to that. But then there's going to be people like Sally, who's that 68-year-old woman with no commute, but she listens to my show every single day while she's walking her dog or folding laundry or cooking dinner or doing any of those things. And so obviously I'm going after the Jasons and the Jimmys of the world, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to impact and add value to so many other people. But at least I have this clear focus, this clear direction on who I want to serve at a very intimate, focused, and laser-like level. And all 1 million plus of my monthly listens for the show aren't Jimmy, or aren't even Jason, aren't even in a range. Like, hopefully a few thousand to maybe 50 to 100,000 are. But believe me, there are hundreds of thousands of those listens are nothing like Jimmy, but they still love the show. But what Jimmy does and what the avatar does is it gives me 100% focus and direction.
Is it a different avatar that you're hitting per platform? Like YouTube, your YouTube avatar is going to be different from your Instagram avatar. Is it pretty much a general avatar across the board?
There's always going to be distinct differences, because guess what? Jimmy doesn't have time to watch YouTube videos. He's not going to sit home and watch YouTube videos. He's going to consume my audio only podcast while he's commuting to and from work. That's the time Jimmy's going to consume that content. So YouTube does not work for Jimmy. I have to create a different avatar for that.
Got it. Awesome.
Okay, Jay, do you want to dive into number 2?
Number 2, yeah, research your target market. What's the big way to start that researching? People are probably sitting there being like, hey, how do we even start researching this target audience? They have a general idea, but how do they go about conducting that research?
Well, once you have a general idea, now you're going to start saying to yourself, where does my target audience actually hang out? And a big answer will be, well, they're in Facebook groups right now. They're in LinkedIn groups right now. They're in specific forums or on Q&A sites. They're hanging out somewhere because they're passionate about something. And now you need to go infiltrate those areas in a value added way and make it happen. So like, what would be an example of that? Well, let's just say that you're obsessed with ballet. So you have Sarah, she's obsessed with ballet. She wants to start a ballet podcast. And again, you can insert podcasts with anything that you would want to, listener, right now, like whatever that is for you, you can insert it with. But let's just say Sally wants to start a ballet podcast. Well, she would then go to Facebook and she would search in the search bar for Facebook groups that are talking about ballet. And then she would find 2 or 3 that are super active, that are free, that are thriving, and she would join them. And for 30 days, she would do nothing except add value by asking one question, answering one question, giving one piece of support, and giving one piece of guidance. That should take her less than 5 minutes. She does that in all 2 or 3 groups that she found, and that's it. Her job is done for the day. Then after 30 days of adding value and just giving value, not asking for anything and not spamming anything, then maybe Joe says, hey, my daughter is really into ballet and she's trying to figure out how to do a triple Lutz. Sally can then say, because she's been a valuable member of this community for a while, oh, I just did a podcast episode on a triple Lutz. Here's the link to it. And now not just Joe, but every single person that is in this community that loves Sally because she's been asking questions and giving answers and providing support and guidance for 30 days now is like, I didn't even know that Sally had a podcast. Let's go check it out. So guess what, my friends? It's so obvious what I just shared, but most people won't do it because it sounds and is work.
Mm-hmm. It's almost double dipping at the same token as well, because you're getting business while you're actually doing the research, which is pretty cool.
And you're doing the research. You're learning about their obstacles, their challenges, how they're using words and vocabulary about these things. Like, it is invaluable research.
Awesome.
And now a word from our sponsors.
This week's episode is brought to you by FreshCrowd. FreshCrowd is a full-service social media agency in Canada that specializes in everything social, from management to community building and advertising. FreshCrowd can help your business attract a fresh crowd of people. Visit freshcrowd.com to find out more.
So the final one that we'd really love you to dive deep on is setting up your funnel. So, what are the proper tools? What tools do you use when setting up your funnel for success?
I mean, there's a reason why I've created every one of my multi-million-dollar funnels using ClickFunnels. I mean, that's why Russell Brunson launched this company 5 years ago, is because he saw that people were struggling with funnels because it wasn't easy to set up. It was like you had to be a coder to set things up. And this nothing was made simple as far as like the squeeze page and the landing page and the sales pages and the landing forms and the upsells and the downsells and the one clicks and the this and the that. And I know that sounds like a lot of weird terminology, but once you speak the language, it's second nature, and ClickFunnels allows you to implement that unbelievably fast. It allows you to optimize things, to split test things, to do all the things you need to do to create a funnel that converts. So I've been using ClickFunnels since they launched 5 years ago. I support them as an affiliate, and that's why I recommend anybody that wants to check out ClickFunnels, go through my affiliate link, eofire.com/click, and you get a 30-day completely free trial of this amazing software. And guess what? They have tutorials, they have guidance, they have support, all there for you.
That's awesome.
I mean, we've used ClickFunnels in the past as well. Super easy to set up and an extremely powerful tool for converting online traffic. So JLD, thank you. That was amazing. We have a minute left, maybe a couple minutes left here. And I'd really like to ask you, based on world events. I don't know how crazy it's getting out there in Puerto Rico, but here in Canada and in the U.S. as well, coronavirus, COVID-19 is a big thing. So in terms of an economic downturn or people maybe bunkering down, how does this process or strategy change for you in terms of who you're going after and how you're setting up your funnels, if at all?
Nothing changes for me. I know my area of expertise. I know my sweet spot. I'm going to continue to focus on what I'm good at, continue to focus on providing solutions to my avatar's problems. And I'm going to let the coronavirus experts provide their solutions to other people's problems about this, which of course is almost every single person in the world's problems. I'm not an expert in that. I'm not going to dip my toes into that. And I'm not going to change how I operate until it's very obvious I need to change how I operate. So I'm going to continue to keep my finger on the pulse, continue to do what I do best, and see how the world operates. And we're very much in lockdown right here in Puerto Rico. We're actually have taken much stronger measures than really any place in the Western Hemisphere. We have a 24/7 lockdown. You can only leave your house/yard if you're going to either a supermarket or a pharmacy. That's it. Those are the only two reasons you can leave the house. So, I mean, Puerto Rico is way ahead of the game on this, in my opinion. It might not be enough. I mean, it might still be too late, but definitely taking some strong precautions. And it does leave me very grateful that I have created a location-independent business that I can run right from my spare bedroom in my house, and nothing changes. Like, literally, if I had the exact same day 6 months ago that I'm having today, nothing would have changed. I'd be sitting in my chair right now, having the exact same conversation on the exact same device that we're doing right now. And so that's just the power of location independence, financial independence, lifestyle freedom, which is why I love the fact that in 2020, we can have these things.
I think that's the key, location independent business. I mean, there's a lot of our clients are obviously suffering. We work with a lot of restaurants and they're obviously having it's a tough time, but there's certain ways. I mean, you can, as a business owner, sort of pivot in tough times like these, whether you're a restaurant offering in-house chef services for your family to your loyal clients or whatever it may be. But I did notice one thing though, when I was looking at stats this morning. I looked over a handful of accounts, and Facebook traffic over the last week for our accounts has increased by 9 to 11%. So more people are staying at home and more people are scrolling through their content.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, John, I know you got to go. You got something at the top of the hour. As always, thank you so much for everything that you do and for your guidance and expertise today. I know our audience is going to get a lot of value out of it, and stay safe.
Thanks, guys. Much appreciated. Take care.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, how about that, Dave? John Lee Dumas on the Merge Marketing Podcast.
Man, it still does not seem real. What an incredible opportunity. For those that don't know who he is, he truly is the podcast king, the guy that started it all, in my opinion. He's been doing it for a long time. And I listen to his podcast, which has millions of listeners pretty much every day.
How many podcast episodes has he done? Over 1,400 or something like that?
Yeah. So just reading a little bit about him, the bio that I read for Entrepreneurs on Fire, which is his current podcast, is over 1,400 episodes. Prior to Entrepreneurs on Fire, he had something called Podcaster's Paradise, where he taught people how to basically start their own podcast. So I'm not sure if he's lumped that into the 1,400 or if that is separate. So I think he's approaching somewhere around 2,000 episodes.
Wow, that's unbelievable. And you know what's interesting is the story on how we got a guy like John Lee Dumas to come on the Merge Marketing Podcast.
Yeah, it is quite an interesting story because we are still so new in this whole process of podcasting. So basically, a little bit of backstory here. Whenever I reach out to influencers or celebrities or anything like that on Instagram, I never expect to get a response. And when I do, I just kind of go into shock. Like, it doesn't seem real to me almost that that like that celebrity or that influencer actually responded. And I'm like, is it really him, or is it somebody that is managing his Instagram? But surprisingly enough, I have gotten responses from Lee Dumas on multiple occasions. Like I'll just randomly tag him in stories or in posts or whatever. And there's a couple times where we've actually engaged back and forth in a real conversation. And so this happened on something I had tagged him in, and I had told you about it. I don't know if you remember, but I had said, yo, guess who responded to my story? And you are the one that said, man, you got to ask him to come on the podcast. And I was reluctant at first. I was like, nah, there's no way. He must get like hundreds of requests on a daily basis to come on other people's podcasts.
Of course you're reluctant, because I took the phone out of your hands.
Yeah. So you took the phone out of my hands and you're like, okay, I'm going to ask him. And I was like, okay, well, hold on. Knowing you're going to say something crazy. So I said, type it out and then let me see it before you send it. And anyways, I sent it off, and boom, next thing you know, he's like, yep, no problem. Here's a link, book a time in my calendar. And I was like, whoa.
You could tell that's awesome. And you could also tell by talking to John that, as you call him, JLD, you could tell he was just all about just giving value to the audience. You could just tell that, like, he just grilled us with 10 minutes of pure value, telling us exactly how he sets up, certain stages of his funnel. And same thing. He probably just looked at that as not a time waster, but a great opportunity to shed value to an audience.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, we don't have a ton of listeners yet, but for anybody that wants to impact people's lives and create great content, it doesn't matter. You can get in front of 5 people, you can get in front of 500 people. Yeah, I mean, that just shows you these people will definitely make time for anybody. So what a cool opportunity to learn from him. And today we talked about how to convert, how to create funnels that convert. And I think this guy has created hundreds of funnels, sales funnels, and converted thousands and thousands of people. So we dove deep on a couple of the stages in his process. And I think, and I hope people got some value from it.
For sure. Awesome. Well, thanks to everybody for listening this week. You know where to find us, merge.ca. You can also catch us on anchor.fm/merged. But yeah, until next time, we'll see you soon.
Yes, and don't forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast. We would love to hear from you and have you along on this journey. And who knows who we're going to get on next, right?
That's it.
Okay. See you, everyone.